Are you an investor in insurance policies? And do you want to know about LIC Mutual Funds Balanced Advantage Fund? Because I think so many people, the first time investor, they have a question: should I invest in mutual fund? How it is different from an insurance and other things? So today's topic is all about LIC Mutual Funds Balanced Advantage Fund. I was amazed by the presentation provided by the team because they had so much information loaded and so much numbers, which will be of so delight to watch, and you will also be pushed towards investing in balanced advantage mutual fund. So if you're a beginner and if you haven't started investing in mutual fund, please watch this video and please share this video with your friends who never invested in insurance, who never invested in mutual funds, and they want to invest in for the first time, right? So let's jump in. I'm Ganesh Sinturu, stock market profit coach and author of the book One Page Mutual Fund Plan. And let's start with a one easy way to understand a comparison. Why equity mutual fund and why we are saying so in the last 40 years. This is an interesting chart. 40 years ago, let's take 1981. If you are invested in just look at the inflation. 1 lakh at that time will become around 1330 rupees. That is the level of value right now. So in the case of gold, the CAGR is 8.7%, and you can buy SUV worth just 28 lakhs. In case of FD, marginally 0.1% extra, maybe an iWatch extra, that is what you can buy. And if you go for PPF, the average value is 9.6%, maybe you can buy a Ninja bike worth totally 40 lakh rupees. And if you invested in Sensex, just look at the returns. 2 crores worth of house along with child's overseas education worth 1.3 crores along with SUV of 20 lakhs. So 1 lakh invested 40 years ago can become close to 3.5 crores. This is the kind of returns you can get in equity mutual fund. But what is that risk which is always coming up and which everyone are doubting and worried about? Because this is the reason for everybody worrying about debt. Just volatility, equity market as such. Because in equity, the market goes down, it suddenly jumps up, and after some time it just brings it down like anything, and that is the reason people will feel like I lost my entire money, right? So how to overcome this is the reason we have this fund. And just look at the equity returns in the last, say, 2001 to 2021, almost 20 years. Just look at how this performance has been. It started around 2000 3000 points in the early 2001. From that time till 2008, it has been a one-way journey. Everybody wanted to invest in stock market. They want to beat returns. And in 2009, it was a bigger fall, and that is where everybody started fearing about stock market. And again, slowly it started moving up. And just look at from March 2020 Corona. Just look at right now. It's like everybody are feeling happy. Everybody are feeling like everybody can make money in stock market. That is a risk factor associated, right? And this brings us to the interesting topic of how to understand the fall. Just look at the falls. In 2002, 1, 2, 3, the fall has been around, the volatility is around, immediate peak is around, just look at 30-40% and 60% the peak. And in March 2020, it is more than 35%. That is the kind of volatility is there once you start investing in equity. And the reasons for volatility, because we need to understand, even in fixed deposit, today I also had an interesting conversation with a new investor. He wanted to invest, but he was so much worried about risk factor and how it works, right? So I just showed him made him understand. Even fixed deposit has an interest rate risk, because everybody can, government is reducing the interest rate, RBI is reducing the interest rate. But in case of mutual fund, just look at equity market get affected by global economic outlook, domestic outlook, government policies, and geopolitical issues. Just like what happened with Corona, every country got affected, and it was a geopolitical issue and government policies. How the recent current government is acting towards the any crisis or any possible policies. All this matters. And if you look at domestic with respect to India, what is the economic outlook? Always it has been positive for the last 10 plus years or even 20 plus years, because India has a huge population, and we are almost like a treasure cow, I will say, because it's a treasure where people want to come in and sell their products. All the overall countries, Apple or Amazon or Google, they're just investing in millions and billions of amount dollars of money just to make sure they capture the international, the Indian market. And same goes with the global economic outlook. Just coming out of the corona crisis, every country wants to ramp up the things. That is the reason all these are points which will affect the stock market, and that will affect the bring in the volatility, And how to overcome the volatility, how do I invest, because I said everyone can invest once you get into understand this. Just look at the LIC balanced advantage fund portfolio. Just look at equity is stock selection, capital appreciation you will get, and arbitrage will provide hedge as well as endure equity tax benefit, because after a year you sell arbitrage, it's purely tax, you can save tax. You don't need to pay tax up to 1 lakh of profit. And debt will provide stability and liquidity. So all these three things are going to be there with respect to the LIC mutual fund, balanced advantage fund, and this is a solution because to overcome the volatility, and we have interesting numbers to see how it works also. Right, just look at interest rate and equity valuation works opposite. Just look at in the last 1.5 years, interest rate has been brought down and equity valuation started going up. This is an interesting point made by this mutual fund, and it is a negative correlation can also be seen while calculating the DCF valuation, because this is a valuation technique which I teach in my course, stock market valuations, right? So if you come in, I'll be teaching about DCF valuation, but this is what the company is doing. They are able to generate cash flows. How the company is able to generate cash flows, now it is going to helpful. All these will be analyzed in this mutual fund and then they are going to invest. So what kind of model returns, because any mutual fund or any PMS companies, they will list out a model portfolio. For the last 20-21 years they have listed the model portfolio. Just look at the returns, they have done the analysis, and the red color is a model value. Just look at the Sensex is right now 25,000. Sorry, I am not able to look at the numbers, and just look at the 36,153. Just look at the huge difference with respect to how the model portfolio has performed with respect to Nifty index. Okay, this is what your fund is also going to give you in absolute terms, in CAGR terms, in returns point of view. Just look at model performance is around 15% for 15 years, whereas Nifty 50 returns is around 11.18%. This is the kind of returns difference. 4% is going to make a huge difference when you look at the end of 15 years. Whereas in the 3 year or 5 year period, it's going to be a very marginal difference. But just look at 5 year, 10 year also, it's marginal. But once you look at 15 year and being a balanced advantage fund, just look at the kind of returns you're getting. And even if there is a loss in LIC mutual fund, just look at, in case of equity, you're going to lose, you would have lost close to 48% in Jan 2008 to March 2009, whereas in this model portfolio, you would have lost just 12.87%. Even in Feb 2020 to March 2020, the Nifty would have lost 36.82, whereas this mutual fund portfolio would have lost just close to 27%. So this model portfolio is working very well, and they are time tested for 21 years, which is really good, I will say. And SIP returns, just look at, in 3 year period the SIP is going to give you 27% returns, and just look at the kind of returns you would have generated. And 10 years, 12 lakh of investment is going to be 26.74 lakhs. And just look at, this is a point I just want to highlight. If you're investing in a insurance policy, the same LIC, the 12 lakh, if you are even investing for 20 years, the total amount you're going to get is just around 23 lakhs. Whereas in this fund, you're going to get around 26 lakhs in 10 years. In 20 years, the amount you're going to get is multifold, right? Just look at that point. So if you are somebody who is investing in LIC insurance policy, you should always focus upon, can I invest in LIC mutual fund to the bare minimum so that you are getting something extra returns? Because you don't need to look for 27% or 50%, because the last 3 years has been because of the extraordinary performance of the stock market. But last 10 years, just look at 15%, which is way better than any insurance policy, way better than any company. So this is what you should focus upon. Okay, and this is an interesting conversation because many people are having money in your fixed deposit. Just talk with your, if you are somebody who is watching, just check with your uncle or just check with your parents who are having lots of money in the fixed deposit. Just look at fixed deposit 1 lakh, even if it is giving 9% return, just look at the calculation. At the end of the year, what you're going to get is just 5.52% because of the taxation. Whereas in case of debt mutual funds, you're going to get the benefit, even that 9% returns is going to become 7.6%. Whereas in balanced advantage fund model, 9%, you're going to get it as it is, because 1 lakh, whatever profit is just 53,000 in a year, and that 53,000 rupees is well within the limits of 1 lakh profit. And this is considered as a equity, so automatically the total returns what you're going to get is completely tax free, right? So this is a huge advantage with respect to LIC mutual fund, balanced advantage fund. Hope the numbers are so good and you are interested. Please go and invest in LIC Mutual Fund Balance Advantage Fund. And considering the market situation, this is something interesting. And this is, you know about LIC. I don't need to explain a lot because LIC Insurance is a parent company. LIC Mutual Fund has been started and it has been running good and it's slowly gaining momentum, I will say. So this is something like they are backtested. So much interesting presentations I had seen. All these are available in LIC Mutual Fund website. Please go and invest if you're never invested in mutual fund and if you're never invested in balanced advantage category. And this is a good fund to start with because market is very high and you can consider at least 10 to 12%. They had given 15, at least 10 to 12%, which is really good compared to any other asset class, I will say. So thank you so much for watching. Please share this video with one of your friend who is always saying a lot about LIC insurance policy and show them how LIC mutual fund is also going to be one of the biggest asset class going forward in their life, right? Thank you so much. Please do subscribe. Ask your friend to subscribe to get interesting videos on mutual fund, stock market, and everything. Thank you.